Oh hello! I did not see you there. Let's talk about hydroelectric power plant. But first, what is hydroelectric power plant? Hydropower plant are a form of renewable energy. They operate using stored water in a dam. The water falls by gravity through the penstock to the water turbines located below the dam. There are various types of water turbines used to drive power generators. First, we have the most handsome, most charming, most dedicated star, John Louis Cruz, who will explain the history of hydroelectric power plant. Kuya John Lloyd.
Uy! Oh, hey guys! Welcome! And I'm gonna explain the brief background of the hydroelectric power plant. The first hydroelectric power plant was commissioned in the year 1882 by a man named Michael Faraday, and it was built on Wisconsin, USA, Appletown. But the scientists and the foundations that led to that great and astonishing build was discovered in the year 1878, and they knew that it was possible by harnessing electricity through hydropower. And in the 19th century, this power plant got an increased amount of number and attention, and almost everywhere around the world, it was built around every suitable areas. And in 1937, in the Philippines, they built the Villa Escudero Dam, or also known as the Philippines' oldest dam. Some in Quezon City. Some say it is still operational, but also some say it is not. But how does a power plant work? Let's check on Philip, who's currently taking a bath.
Oh! You want to know about hydroelectric power plant? Wait a minute. But first, we need to know the different types.
Now, there are 4 types of hydroelectric power plants. Number 1. Run-of-river hydropower plants. A facility that channels flowing water from a river through a canal or penstock to spin a turbine. Typically, a run-of-river project will have little or no storage facility. Run-of-river provides a continuous supply of electricity, with some flexibility of operation for daily functionality, in demand through water flow that is regulated by the facility. Number 2. Pumped storage hydropower provides peak load supply, harnessing water which is cycled between a lower and upper reservoir by pumps which use surplus energy from the system at times of low demand. When electricity demand is high, water is released back to the lower reservoir through turbines to produce electricity. Number 3. Storage hydropower. Typically a large system that uses a dam to store water in a reservoir. Electricity is produced by releasing water from the reservoir through a turbine which activates a generator. Storage hydropower plants provide base load as well as the ability to shut down and start up at short notice, according to the demands of the system. It can offer enough storage capacity to operate independently of the hydrological inflow for many weeks or even months. Lastly is the offshore hydropower, a less established but growing group of technologies that use tidal currents or the power of waves to generate electricity from seawater.
Now we know the different types. Let's see how a hydroelectric plant works.
From the penstock is allowed to enter the power generating unit, which houses the turbine and the generator. When water falls onto the blades of the turbine, the kinetic and potential energy of the water is converted into rotational motion of the blades of the turbine. The rotating blades causes the shaft of the turbine to also rotate. The turbine shaft is enclosed inside the generator. In most hydroelectric power plants, there is more than one power generation unit. There is a large difference in height between the level of the turbine and the level of the water in the reservoir. This difference in height is also known as the head of water, decides the total amount of power that can be generated in the hydroelectric power plant. There are various types of water turbines, such as Kaplan turbine, Francis turbine, Pelton wheels, and etc. The types of turbine used in the hydroelectric power plant depends on the height of the reservoir, quantity of water, and the total power generation capacity. Lastly is the generators. It is in the generator where the electricity is produced. The shaft of the water turbine rotates in the generator, which produces alternating current in the coils of the generator. It is the rotation of the shaft inside the generator that produces magnetic field, which is converted into electricity. By electromagnetic field induction, hence the rotation of the shaft of the turbine is crucial for the production of electricity, and this is achieved by kinetic and potential energy of water, thus in hydroelectricity power plants.
Now we know how it works. Let's see how a hydroelectric power plant works.
Water at the higher level is collected in the forebay. It flows through the plant intake into a pipe called a penstock, which carries it down to a turbine water wheel at the lower water level. The water pressure increases as it flows down the penstock. It is this pressure and flow that drives the turbine that is connected to the generator. Inside the generator is the rotor that is spun by the turbine. Large electromagnets are attached to the rotor located within coils of copper wire called a stator. As the generator rotor spins the magnets, a flow of electrons is created in the coils of the stator. This produces electricity that can be stepped up in voltage through the station transformers and sent across transmission lines. The falling water, having served its purpose, exits the generating station to the tail race, where it rejoins the main stream of the river to continue the cycle of creating clean, renewable energy for Ontario.
Hydroelectric energy is renewable. This means that we cannot use up, however, there's only a limited number of suitable reservoirs where hydroelectric power plants can be built, and even less places where such projects are profitable. Compared to, among others, fossil fuels and nuclear energy, hydroelectricity is much safer. There is no fuel involved. Hydropower is fueled by water, so it's a clean fuel source, meaning it won't pollute the air like power plants that burn fossil fuels such as coal or natural gas. Hydroelectric power is a domestic source of energy, allowing each state to produce their own energy without being reliant on international. Generating electricity with hydro energy is not polluting itself. The only pollution occurs during the construction of these massive power plants.
Disadvantages of hydroelectric energy. Number 1. Environmental consequences. The environmental consequences of hydropower are related to the interventions in nature due to damming of water, changed water flow, and the construction of roads and power lines. Hydroelectric power plants may affect fish, a complex interaction between numerous and physical biological factors. More user interest related to exploitation of fish species, which helps that this is a field that many have strong opinions on. Fish habitats are based by physical factors, such as water level, water velocity, and shelter opportunities, and access to food. Draining would be completely devastating to the fish. Beyond this, the amount of water may have different effects on the fish in a river. Depending on the type and stage of life cycle, not all unregulated river systems are optimal in terms of fish production because of large fluctuation in flow. Number 2. The risk of drought. Power generation and electricity prices are closely related to the amount of water available. A severe drought could impact this. When there is prolonged drought, rivers tend to dry up, which means no or less water for electricity generation. When this happens, power rationing becomes the order of the day, and electricity prices shoot up. Number 3. Constructions need a large area. To be able to construct a dam, install power production units, plus transformers, and tether them to the main grid requires a large piece of land. This may call for clearing of large chunks of the forest, To provide space for building the dam and clearing up the forest greatly impacts the natural ecosystem. Number 4. It is expensive. Building power plants in general is expensive. Hydroelectric power plants are not an exception to this. On the other hand, these plants do not require a lot of workers, and maintenance costs are usually low.